Have you ever feel like you know English, like grammar and expressions and words, but the moment you need to speak, everything disappears, like your words, your confidence, even your thoughts. But I'm sure you're not alone, trust me, because I used to feel the same, afraid of mistakes, worried about my accents, and going completely blank in a real conversations. But now I can speak English much more confidently. This is not because of talent or perfect study methods. It's something much simpler. I just kept speaking. That's it. Nearly 10 years ago, in 2017, I went to New Zealand to learn English. Actually, before that, I thought I was prepared because I had studied some grammar and expressions. That was pretty fine to become fluent. I completely underestimated about language learning. But once I arrived, I realized something important. I came up with knowing English and using English as a language are totally different because I had barely spoken English before, so talking with my host family and friends made me very nervous. Sometimes I almost panicked before speaking, so I just kept thinking, is my grammar correct? Is my pronunciation okay? Can they understand me? Before that, I hesitated a lot. I often couldn't find the next word, and long silences happen in the conversations. So looking back the time, I regret not practicing speaking before leaving for New Zealand. I learned only doing input wasn't enough for the first time. In my first month, I attended a language school and talked with the teachers and classmates. That was very international because they came from Asia and Europe and South America. So I had to speak English to communicate with them. But speaking English was very uncomfortable because I was 20 years old at the time and I grew up speaking Japanese for 20 years. And it was very hard to accept the difference from when I was in Japan. And sadly with Japanese classmates, I often switched back to Japanese because it was comfortable. English took a lot of energy. But as I learned at the language school, what I have realized was most people didn't care about my mistakes. I had one experience with my friend who was actually native speakers. Even though I was speaking a broken English, it took a lot of time to even say one sentence. And he was very patient until I finished speaking. That was very helpful. And I realized people are not thinking like your grammar is wrong, your accent is bad. They just want to listen to you and understand you. That experience changed my mindset. Of course, I made a lot of mistakes. One of the most embarrassing episodes happened in a library. I was practicing the pronunciation with my friend and tried to say the word of shit, but actually I said shit instead. And suddenly people turned around and looked at me to make sure what was going on. And I was extremely embarrassed when I got the definition because I didn't know about anything at the time. But nothing serious happened. It was totally fine. And at the same time, I was able to learn two important things. The first, pronunciation matters. And second, mistakes aren't the end of the world. It actually helps you improve. I'm really sure the more you make mistakes, the faster you can improve. You make them, you learn, and you move on to the next level. In my second month, I started using English more. I listened to music like One Direction, talked with a host family and friends, and tried to speak English whenever I could, mainly self-talk. But I didn't really notice my improvement at first. I just kept going and stayed consistent. Then around 3 months, I was walking to a supermarket with my friends and we were having a conversation in English. And suddenly I realized I was speaking English without thinking about that much. I wasn't translating from Japanese into English in my head and wasn't overthinking about every sentence. That was very natural. That was the first moment I truly noticed my progress. It's been nearly 10 years since I started learning English, and I'm still learning. And I still make mistakes and really struggle to express myself. And also there are thousands of words and expressions I've never come across before, but I'm much more confident now. And that confidence came from experience. It might be because I was improving, but mainly I got used to it. In my experience, the more I spoke, the less I feared mistakes, and the easier it became to express myself. For me, confidence doesn't mean speaking perfect English. It means speaking even when you might be wrong. I used to think I'll become good at English first, then I'll speak. But it's actually the opposite. You don't become confident and then speak. You speak and then you become confident. And these days, I have conversations on Cambly and talk to myself, make YouTube videos like now, and listen to podcasts on my commute. Inputs are crucial. You can be better without input, but only doing this is not enough. You can't learn speaking by only reading. If you've studied English for years, but still feel afraid to speak, try this. Speak now, only one sentence. You don't need another person. Read something aloud. Even the article is fine, and repeat it a few times, maybe between 5 and 10 times, and get used to producing English with your voice. Because to improve speaking skill, you must speak. If you have a feeling of you can understand English, but actually you can't speak, I think this is because your lack of practice. It's very simple. Don't expect instant results, because I've been learning for 10 years and I'm still improving. Language learning is a long journey. It takes time, so don't wait until you feel ready. Just speak. You won't become fluent overnight, but if you keep going, you get better, and little by little, you'll become more confident. Because confidence doesn't come from before speaking, it comes from speaking. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.